So many things happened at that time in my life that all contributed. But when I look back, I really see that it was Guruji calling me and bringing me close to the Fauj.
What was it, and when was it when you thought that you want to get into Sikhi, you want to start practicing it?
For me, it was a little bit compartmentalized. But I think when you have the identity of a Sikh, it's all the time.
Many people also feel that when and if they have restricted themselves to the Bana, they think very highly of themselves. That just because we have the Bana on and we have the case, which are just as how our Guruji wanted when we have the Hathyar on us. Many people feel that just because the other people do not have it, they are lower beings and we are higher beings because we are more closer to God. God has blessed us. And do you not think that that is where the ego also comes in?
Even being a good student at university could be a religion for someone. And when you think you're becoming superior or you're doing something that's very difficult that other people cannot do, then that's a chance that you can feed the ego.
Yeah.
And I think when you do have Bana, because of the respect that people have for it, then the standard is higher. So they are supposed to be someone that is closer to God. Unfortunately, you know, these polarities often get inversed. The people, in my opinion, a true king is someone who serves.
Yes.
But in other people's opinion, a king is someone who has servants, right? So every time we have the fruitages of God's spirit, which helps us to work against greed, which helps us to work against pride, against anger, then we know that is the right way.
How do you define the changes that came in? What were you back in those days? And what changes do you see in yourself now as a Sikh person? Because if anybody who really wants to become a better person or they want to be of service to God, they can understand that what all needs to be changed, what all will be sacrificed, and if they're really originally ready to undergo those changes. Sat Sri Akal Veer ji.
Sat Sri Akal Bhen ji.
How are you?
Vadiya ji.
Thank you so much for your time. I really want to begin with asking you that what was it, and when was it when you thought that you want to get into Sikhi and you want to start practicing it?
When was it and what was it? I think it was a gradual thing because I always knew that I would one day investigate it. So I think it started from when I was very young.
Right.
Because just seeing Sikhs, seeing my Mama ji, seeing my Nana ji, I always felt that they were close to God and I wanted to understand them. But what eventually helped me cross over and get to that point is becoming a father.
Right.
That's one of the big things.
Right.
And I think so many things happened at that time in my life that all contributed to it.
Okay.
But when I look back, I really see that it was Guruji calling me and bringing me close to the Fauj.
When you say that you had seen your Mama ji and everybody who were practicing Sikhi, you always felt that they were closer to God. Why do you say that? And why would you not feel it for the rest of the people who are not practicing Sikhi, most probably?
Because they spent time doing things that is for God to identify themselves, you know, with the Guru, with our Creator. So taking the time to do these things, I guess maybe you could say I've always been attracted to a little bit of ritual. So even the idea of tying the turban or taking care of their case, I think for me, when I do that, it's definitely time that I feel like I'm spending with Guruji. And I think that time is the more we can make every part of our life to be something that is for Guruji, the better. So for me, it was a little bit compartmentalized.
Okay.
But I think when you have the identity of a Sikh, it's all the time.
Yeah. But many people also feel that when and if they have restricted themselves to the Bana, they think very highly of themselves. That just because we have the Bana on and we have the case, which are just as how our Guruji wanted, when we have the hatiyar on us. Many people feel that just because the other people do not have it, they are lower beings and we are higher beings because we are more closer to God. God has blessed us. And do you not think that that is where the ego also comes in? And the idea of practicing Sikhi altogether, or the idea of being a Sikh altogether, just vanishes there and then when you're filled with the fact that you are a true Sikh, true Guru's Sikh, and the rest are not.
Yeah, I think religion in general feeds the ego, no matter what it is, right? Even being a good student at university could be a religion for someone. And when you think you're becoming superior, or you're doing something that's very difficult that other people cannot do, then that's a chance that you can feed the ego.
Yeah.
And I think when you do have bana, because of the respect that people have for it, then the standard is higher. So they are supposed to be someone that is closer to God. That doesn't mean that they're a superior person. What it means is that they should be someone who is of more service.
Yes.
Right? We should feel like we can go to them and they should be of service.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, these polarities often get inversed. The people, in my opinion, a true king is someone who serves.
Yes.
But in other people's opinion, a king is someone who has servants. So I think this difference comes into every aspect of life, including someone who wears bana, perhaps.
So how do you feel about Sikhi now? The life that you've lived before and the life that you consciously chose to live now. How do you define the changes that came in? How do you differentiate in your personality what it was then and what it is now? What were you back in those days? And what changes do you see in yourself now as a Sikh person? Because if anybody who really wants to become a better person, or they want to be of service to God, they can understand that what all needs to be changed, what all will be sacrificed, and if they're really originally ready to undergo those changes, if at all.
So I'll try to answer that question to the best of my ability. If I forget anything, let me know.
Yeah.
But what I was back then was someone who really wanted to work for the kingdom of God. I really wanted the system as we know it to be gone. My beliefs then was that Armageddon could come any day and wipe out the entire system, and we would be able to start this world afresh, doing things the way God wanted to. And if we did things that way, then we wouldn't need other governments, other religions to tell us what to do. And that is still who I am. Okay. But I believe that Guruji brought me to Siki and started me where I was supposed to be, so that I would have the experience, so that I would understand the implications of Siki, of how powerful Siki is, that it really is the way to establish the sovereignty of the one true God.
Right. As a person, I would say, how do you feel that, because when you get into something, we were speaking about the mind before the cameras were rolling. How do you define mind? And how does meditating on the true Lord really shifts the diagram of what goes within the mind? Or the visualization of what goes within the mind? Because adorning the bana itself is just to tell your mind that we can still live in the material world and choose not to be affected by it, even though we have distractions present every now and then, every here and there. How do you consciously remind yourself to be able to have that understanding to win over the mind, not to control the mind, but to win over it?
So the way I define mind, whenever I look at a holy scripture and they are using the word man, I replace that with mind.
Yeah.
So man and mind are the same thing. We even have in Punjabi man, we have mentality, right? Is very much the same. So for me, what a real man is someone who can hear God. And the purpose of religion is to teach us to not adulterate that.
Yes.
So if we become an adulterer, that means that we have done something to block our reception between us and God. So gender and time do not fall within timeless perspective.
Yeah.
They do not fall within holiness.
Yeah.
So when I read scripture, I define man as mind.
Yeah.
And when I want to be a man of God, that means to be someone who is always connected, someone who's not afraid to call on, who's not afraid to say, hey, I need some help, or to know that God hears me, right? And woman is the secret part of the mind, the inner part of the mind. You could say the intuition, the being, the part that knows, the part that is holy.
When you said that there's no adulteration between yourself and the God's message, how do we hear God? Like there's always a debate about God is telling you this, God is telling you that, He's always directing you, He's everywhere, He has that kind of a power. How can one really hear what God is saying? Because what we believe, and since we're growing up in a society which has wired us in a certain way, how do we establish that this is God's voice and not the wires that are talking, how we've been conditioned that are talking?
Right.
How do we probably understand that this is, because let's say, just for an example, for instance, if I've grown up and if I've been raised watching that so-and-so person, as we were speaking about being good and authentic also, that we've been taught to be good all the time. And when we speak of being a good person, we probably ignore the wrong and the bad as well. And we engage ourselves into it, which definitely has an effect on our own selves as well. Being conscious means not to engage, to be aware that this is something which is not nice and it does not need my attention. Because as Japji Saab says, Pancha ka gur ek dhyan, it's attention, right? I do not have to attend it. But then we've been conditioned in such a way that if you're a good person, you have to rise above it. Now, something inside of me is constantly telling me to not engage. But because I've been wired in such a way that there's another voice which says that be good, be good. How do we differentiate between the voices of the conditioning and of the gods?
Yeah, I think, if we get too into, what is the false voice? We can give others power, right? Like we can think, I'm hearing God. And then someone else says, well, no, that's waswas, or that's something else, and then we're unsure of ourselves. And then that person might have some power over us if we consent to that. Yeah. I think, so for me, growing up, the name of God, the true name is Jehovah. And what that means is He that causes to become. So if you want to see what God is saying to you, see what you have been caused to become.
And how do we do that?
So we look at ourselves where we are and we accept it. Yeah. Right? So when we accept, this is my circumstance, this is where I am in this point of time, and we put our forehead to the ground as a way to accept that, then we are willing to hear God. First, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to accept the truth.
Also, I would say, to add on to it, to be present in the given situation and not to associate with your past or what might come next out of fear. To just be fully into it and to be present. This is what I believe Gurbani has also taught us.
Yeah.
On definitely every panna, that on every ang, that you have to be present. You have to be in here, situated, present. to listen to him.
How can we be present and accepting what God's giving us without being presumptuous and assuming that it means this?
Yeah.
So that is at the same time of being humble, being a humble servant, saying, and that's where the refinement comes. Because of course we're going to make mistakes. Of course we're going to be presumptuous. And at that point, every time we catch ourselves, we say, oh, okay, no, that wasn't right. So how do we know if what we did was what God wanted us to do? Is we have the fruitage, right? How do we know we planted an orange tree? Because oranges grow.
Yeah.
So when we have the fruitage, which is the opposite of the 5 thieves, right? So every time we have the fruitages of God's Spirit, which helps us to work against greed, which helps us to work against pride, against anger, then we know that is the right way. But if we see something in ourselves that needs a little bit of changing, we go back and we say, okay, I thought God was telling me to do that, but now that I think about it, I really did this for that.
Yeah.
And we have to be honest with ourselves and we repent. The way we repent is we visualize, what should I have done? Let's say I was as wise as I am now. If I had done that, the better thing would have been to do this. And to accept that, now you've cleared the path. And now next time when you perceive God, less of your ego will be in it.
Yeah. It's about basically understanding that whenever you've learned your lesson, begin then. You really do not have to, because things are definitely not in your control. Many things are not. What is in your control is basically your own self on 3 levels: mind, heart, and soul. These 3 are something that you can change the narrative and change the tides of. Is it not somewhat very similar to placebo effect if we really think about it?
Well, I do get what you're saying, is that we can renew ourselves at any time.
Can I just cut you?
Okay, please.
I believe that spirituality does not really mean that is also an ego speaking when we say that I want to renew myself. What's that's a trick that ego plays. What spirituality really has to do with it is to dissolve your old self.
Yes.
Not to become the newer version, because what you will become is again not in your control.
Right.
It's about cutting out on the stems or on the branches that are, or on the roots as well, which are not committed to growth.
Yeah.
Because if you have cut them off, like if you dissolve the older self, which is probably prohibiting you from going to a certain direction where you really want to go towards your purpose, you're still going to be the same person. You've got to dissolve the idea and the new will happen.
Yes.
You don't have to become the newer version. But when I speak of placebo, it talks entirely differently.
Right. Yeah. So I think when we're identified with something that's not true, that's not from God, it's destructible. Anything that's from God is timeless. It is true.
Yes.
So when we're identified with something like that, after a while, it will start to weigh us down. So we have to let it go. And that's when we could maybe use the word renewal.
Yeah.
Right. But placebo, like you said, is, I think if you're saying, I am going to be renewed, I'm going to go out to the rainforest and have this potion, or I'm going to go do this samagam, or I'm going to go do this bath, and I am going to be renewed, then I see what you mean by placebo.
Yeah, because even if we go to certain places and we think that we're going to be baptized, so to say, if the work is not being done from here, if the baptism doesn't happen from within, no matter whatever you create around you or you make yourself of, it's not really going to work. You want to bathe in whichever holy rivers you may. You want to do certain practices, you may. But if it does not have a genuine and authentic impact on your within, like on your inside, it is not going to show up. For instance, why do I say it? Because, and I will go back to the part where we were speaking about being good and authentic. We know that we have to do a certain thing, right? We've been taught that do a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is not taught? Why do we need to do it? And how to not be attached with it. As in, when we are growing up, we are told that if you study, only then you will get a greater job.
Mm.
Why do I need to study? This is not the right answer.
Right.
And with it, we are attaching the idea of getting a glamorous, handsome, greater job with it. So the process over there is suddenly so undermined and underestimated that our conscious has suddenly, and this is also coming with lalach, greed. We are studying with an intention of greed for the job. If we've been taught that you're going to study to become a better person, to learn a new thing, learn new things, you will study and the job is going to happen.
Right.
The greater things are going to happen. We're never taught this. I believe that we just have been probably shunned down to the road of results so much that our man is automatically attached to the result without even understanding or embracing the process in the first place.
Yeah.
I have to be this person because being this person is going to get me this. No, you should be this person because this is the person that you should be.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop. Things will happen is what I believe. When I started sitting with myself, I would not say that I'm meditating at all because it, again, tap needs a lot of patience. I don't have that much. But the clarity started to reign in. It just started to shower. And I would still do the same things. I would do the similar things as I was doing before. But my intention had suddenly changed when I would sit with myself, you know. I want to be a nice person. I don't want my anger to take the best out of me. Not because I want to not scare off the people that love me and who I love, but with the intention of being a person who is prohibited or refrained from the ideology that anger is important. So when I started to tell myself that the intentions, when I started to clear myself the intentions is when I would see things changing. Am I able to convey what I want to say?
Yeah, very nicely.
Yeah.
So what you're speaking about is something that I was taught early on in my being a parent, because I was thinking about my son. And I was driving in the Central California over the hills, and I kind of just imagined the story, and it sobered me up very much so. And basically, I won't say the story right now, but it's called Jack and Jewel. And essentially what it is it's about being someone who remembers what you really wanted when you were innocent.
Oh, wow.
What your soul really wanted. So when we're young, we think, okay, I'm going to meet all the different kinds of people and see what everyone looks like. Okay, I'm going to eat up. I want to try every single apple there is, or I want to say hello in 100 different languages, or whatever it is, right? But as we grow up, these desires get replaced.
Yeah.
And were they really our desires? Or did someone kind of project them onto us and say, well, of course you want to be a doctor because you want to make $250,000 so that you can buy a house and a car. Yeah. Of course, that's what you need, right? You want to be a good parent, right? They project that onto you, and then you take that, and then what's happening is your jewel, the soul that's been waiting for you, and you've been waiting for it. You've been waiting for that holy matrimony. Well, now you just spoiled the most important thing in life because you were going after what other people told you is important. And one of the things that really sobered me up is one way that they do it is they pay you a lot of respect. They pay you a lot of compliments. They say, hey, you know, you're such a nice fellow, you know, like we love everything you're doing. You should come and you should do this project, and this is what you deserve, and you think, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, right? But is it really taking you towards everything your soul really wanted to do or wants to do? Do you really know what you want? So I think that's the first thing, is we all have to ask ourselves, what is it do I want? If we can't answer that very well, we have to spend more time with ourselves. Maybe indulge a little bit until you really know what is it that you want that will make you happy.
Yeah. And you see, when you understand that what it is that you really want, the energy suddenly shifts so beautifully, because what probably you yourself want to be a doctor, let's just say.
Yeah.
And you've been told that you should be a doctor. You want to be a doctor and you should be a doctor. These two have separate energies.
Yes.
When somebody imposes the idea, they are also projecting it with the fear or with the greed. The energy is that.
Yeah.
You wanting to do it, the energy is entirely different. The fruits, both of the stories can bear, of course. This for a shorter run and this for a longer run. When you're doing it for your own self, because you understood that this is what you want to do, the fruits are going to be much more sweeter, much more long lasting, and you will have the time to indulge in them, to devour on them. But when you're doing something out of the need or the urgency to do it, you will just cut out on the enjoying part of it. And what life is without having a little bit of enjoyment about the things that you really love.
Yeah.
For instance, I would say my mother, like mothers in general, they do certain things because they've been taught to do certain things a certain way. Now, I constantly keep on telling my mom that if you really don't want to do it, don't. You're still lovable. You're still desired. You're still respected if you choose not to do it. It does not take you out of the mother quota or a bracket, so to say. You're still my mother. I'm still your daughter. It doesn't change. But when you're doing it out of compulsion, it also creates a block between you and I. I do not want you to do anything out of compulsion, not just for me, but for anybody who is around you. You should do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
And if any time you feel that you really want to do it, but there is something which is stopping you, then you should not do it out of, how do I say, you should not do it forcibly. You should pay more attention to what is stopping you, cut out on that part, and then it will come to you organically.
Yeah.
Because whatever God creates or whatever God decides, the divine, when divine plans, it's all natural and effortless. It's so organic that there is no hustle to it. It just is. And you just have to be. You just are, and you should know that you just are. And you will be loved and accepted for what you are. Only and only if you accept yourself to be that way. Because others are probably not going to encourage you if you don't encourage yourself to begin with.
Right.
And I think this is when the accountability comes in. We want certain things to happen a certain way. We want certain respect. We want certain sort of acceptance. But it's so easy to point fingers out that they're not doing it to me. But it's so hard to point fingers to your own self that am I doing it for myself?
Yeah.
It's such an unfair deal to be demanding when you have the power to be actually claiming it, is what I believe.
Yeah. We have to take responsibility for our happiness, or else we're shifting it on to someone else. So if someone's told you you should be a doctor, and you go and you do that, you're doing it because you want to make them happy. But if their happiness doesn't make you happy, or their lack of happiness, then where are you? Then you're depressed.
You're still attached to a part of it.
Right. But if you take responsibility for your happiness, okay, I really want to be a doctor. Why? Because I want to know how the body works, or I want to help people. I want to make people feel better. Whatever the reason is, then you will follow what will help you get there.
Yes.
So maybe the person you apprentice under is different than if you're doing it for money, or you're doing it to please this person, when you're doing it actually for your own knowledge. So it will definitely change
Yeah.
the way in which you walk.
And the path will appear. You will eventually know what steps to take next. Because standing at the starting point can be a little tiring and full of anxiety because you don't know what's going to come next. But once you are walking with clarity, the path is going to appear. And you will just not walk on it. You will trod on it like it was meant for you.
Yeah.
And I believe how we've been taught to, I want to just change the gear to a different conversation now.
Do you mind if I just say one thing?
Yes, please.
I just want to say that if we're on the path of Siki, we can have the expectation to be in Chardi Kala.
Yes.
So if we're doing something that's not making us happy, that's not helping us to be completely optimistic, then that in itself is a sign to change what you're doing. That's how we listen. Part of listening to God is to make sure we're always in Chardi Kala.
Yes. Yeah, to not associate yourself with an event, with a circumstance, or with a person to be happy. Your happiness, as you said very rightly, that it's your responsibility and it is totally your state of mind. Because if one thing has been taken away from you, or if you've been you've grown differently and you're not there anymore, would you not be happy? That is like you yourself still attaching to the idea, or because addiction of anything is bad. We say that the addiction of alcohol is bad, addiction of any sort of drug is bad. So is the addiction of idealism, I believe. And so is the addiction, because addiction is bad, period, the full stop. There is no of this or that. It's the idea that is bad. So when I say that happiness is entirely your state of mind and your responsibility, we've also been taught, as many of us, when we are raising ourselves up, we've been taught that go to Gurudwara Sahib, kneel down and pray that Guruji, I want this, help me get this. What if it's not Guruji's plan? What if you never get it till the time you're alive? In this life, I don't know. What if it's not for you? Will you just not be happy? Will you just not surrender? The prayer should not be that Guruji, do this for me. I want to be here. I want to be there. I want this person, that person. I want this material, that material. The prayer should be, my mind should be so much in contentment that wherever you decide me to be, I should be there and still be happy. Still be free. Not being caught up with anything. To be in everything and still be nothing. That is, I think, how the prayers should be taught to the children when they're being raised up. That, so we tell our kids, okay, you want this, you want to score good, go to Gurudwara Sahib and just ask for good grace numbers. No.
Right.
That doesn't work that way.
I think to be really happy, we have to be living our purpose. So if we just ask for a material thing, that's not in line with our purpose. If we just ask, well, I really want a yacht. Well, how did you get that yacht? Right? But if you say, okay, I really want a yacht because I want to travel the world and I want to meet great people and I have this special idea for this thing that I'm going to do and I really feel like this is in line with my purpose, then when we're working towards our purpose, the whole journey is happy. We're not just happy once we get the yacht. We're happy the whole time going that direction.
Yes.
And if the plan changes, if we say, oh, actually, you know what? 13-year-old me thought I needed a yacht, but now I realize I don't. I need this and this. You know, it's no issue. So I would say whenever we pray, we ask that it be done in line with God's will for us, because that it will always be the best purpose that we can conceive of. Right?
Yeah. How do you see the concept of destiny and free will?
Free will is destiny on a higher level. Not everyone can access free will. So free will and destiny are intertwined. But people think that whatever happens, that is destiny. That is not destiny. If something just happens to you and it wasn't, you had no free will to begin with, you did not work towards your purpose, then that's not destiny. Destiny is when your purpose happens. You have found your purpose. And you cannot find your purpose without free will. You cannot find your purpose without having the will of, okay, I want to do this for God, or I want to do this for myself. You have to have some sort of will. So free will is increasingly harder and harder for people to exercise. Because when we believe lies about ourselves or about God, that gets in the way of free will. So if we don't even know that we have free will, we don't even know that, hey, you can ask to live your purpose and God will definitely help you. And if there is any obstacle in that way, God will clear the way. If you don't know that, then you have no free will.
Or if you don't believe that also, some of us really do know that this is the map. But we don't believe that this map is going to get us somewhere.
Yeah, then you don't really know. Like for me, knowing comes before belief. So belief doesn't come before knowing. First, we have to have the gnosis, the deep knowledge. Then we choose to believe it. Yeah. That's faith. So we have to know it.
When I was listening to one of your previous podcasts, and I also mentioned this to you over the phone conversation that we were having, that how beautifully you cleared the fear out of the community when the podcaster asked you the question that how do you see that a lot of people are they are moving towards Christianity, and Punjab is probably going to get doomed very easy, very soon. And you said that is when the faith comes in. That is where the faith that you have on your God comes in, that He's there, He's going to look after it. Now, because you are paying much and more attention to fear, it's going to happen over and over. But the faith, how do you say that you're faithful when you say that the opposite might happen?
Because like I said, living according to free will is not saying whatever I say will happen. It's saying whatever God's planned for me will happen. So God's plan for Punjab might be very different than what we can even conceive of. Maybe it does mean more people will become Christian. Or maybe it means that less ethnic Punjabi people will live here. Or maybe it means that borders will change. We have no idea, right? So we can't go and project our will, right? Like I have the will that I want Punjab to be more organic. But I also have to say, you know what? Maybe there's some wisdom behind it not becoming organic right now. So I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to understand my limitations. I'm going to understand that I have my own responsibilities to Guruji, to my family. And then if it's supposed to happen, then Guruji will provide the support. Yes. Or Guruji will raise someone. Maybe it's not me. Maybe I have nothing to do with it. Maybe Guruji already has somebody else lined up that will be much better. Right? But that doesn't mean
that I'm not going to do my bit.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean I don't have free will, and it doesn't mean destiny is not happening.
So when a person understands that they do have a free will, do you not think that they're more likely to become too egoistic, that they will think to themselves that I'm running the show, I'm running the world, it's me only. If I do this, this is going to happen. I might as well just do it.
Yeah, it's possible. But I don't think we need to be so afraid about that. Like, we don't need to be so afraid of other people becoming too egotistical. And we don't have to be so afraid about ourselves becoming so egotistical. It's okay. Like, I think we just have this kind of feeling of, oh, I don't want someone else to catch me on my ego. You know, let them. Maybe do the opposite. Maybe make yourself look really egotistical.
Why do you say that?
Because just to neutralize it, right? Like the ego is itself is not in any holy scripture, the word ego. It is a concept. It's a psychological concept. We have home, we have, other words that come to it. But in the end, what it comes down to is our desire to be superior, or our desire not to be, or our desire to just project our mind, or our desire to have compassion. In the end, it has to do with our compassion. How much compassion do we walk around with to really want to understand the other person? If we're so hyper-focused on ego, then we'll always have an excuse not to listen to the other person.
Wow.
We'll say, wow, he's just egotistical. Write him off, cancel him. Maybe we need to stop caring so much about the ego and care more about seeing life through this other person's eyes.
So I'm just going to break down this a bit just to understand that if I understood the concept of free will as you were explaining, well or not. You said that it's a mental concept. Ego is also a concept, and so is everything else that we are surrounded with.
Free will is not a mental concept. Free will is much more of a concept. The free will is the first thing that ever existed. Free will is the thought that created all life. Free will is grace.
Is there any word, any another word for it that you would want to introduce?
No, it's the best word. Free will and forgive. Everything has been given for us. And so there should be nothing preventing our free will.
Someone was telling me this off late that because a week ago I was very much afraid, and I have no idea for what reasons. I was very scared. I was probably feeling that something's going to happen and everything's just going to go away. And I was dwelling on that thought or on that fear so much so that things actually happened what I was afraid of. So someone just said this to me, that just as fear is a state of mind, so is faith. Now you may choose with your free will to go either way. So when I say this, is this what free will is, what you're speaking about? That I have a conscious decision and the liberty to go whichever way I want to go. It could either be fair or it could be faith. But then again, my question pertains that if it's entirely on me to go on different ways, do I not have the tendencies to be a bit, of myself, to be so full of myself that I'm deciding it?
Yeah, free will has to be connected with faith. And it has to be your decision. That's what makes it free will. At some point, you will consent to it. As for some blessed souls, they had already exercised their free will. And so they remember their free will. But free will is always connected with faith because it is the one thing that the shaitan wants to convince us does not exist.
Yes.
So it requires faith to even use it, to even believe in it.
Do you have the tendencies, or do you have times when you feel that the shaitan is probably rising in you? And if yes, what do you do then?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it as rising in me, but I do feel like there's times of renewal, like where I have to let go of attachments, of false identification. And I have to relook at it, because what is true at one moment is not true the next moment, right? Like when I decided to wear bana, I had my own reasons for it. It is something I already wanted to do for years. And mainly it had to do with martial arts. My energy when I meditate, it holds my energy so well. I feel so good, right? But as context changes, as life changes, the reason someone does something at first may not be the reason they do it later, or it may not be as important enough of a reason. Maybe something else might eclipse it that makes them not do that, right? Maybe more context of, like I can already say, if it became known and understood that people who dress like me feel free to just go around and kill people, I would stop dressing like this, right? I would change something about it because I would want to distance myself from that. Right now, I don't feel God is telling me to do that. Right now, I feel like God is giving me an opportunity to say, I don't agree with it.
To change the narrative, maybe.
Yeah, to change the narrative. But if it became evident to me that the narrative won't change, then I would expect a door to open to something else.
And then the kind of judgment or the criticism that might come once the door is opened, are you ready for that as well?
I would welcome death. Yeah. You can't be, in line with truth if you're afraid of death, if you're afraid of dying in other people's minds.
Wow. How to reclaim the power? I really want to know how to. I say reclaim because we sometimes now, many are going to probably question that we never claimed it in the first place. But then I have a counter to it that it is given. It's not something that you have to claim. When you were being created, it was given. You probably forgot about it, or you probably did not engage yourself with it a lot. And now that you've forgotten about it, how do you reclaim it? How do you reclaim the power? Because we all are powerful. And I don't know why I believe it so strongly now that every individual is very powerful in their own selves and in their own timelines, in their own ways. But we all are very powerful to do whatever we want to do, to be however we want to be, and to make our surroundings however we want our surroundings to be. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I really believe now. Earlier I would not. I would say that no, you're just puppets, you're being run, this and that. But now I feel that we're not puppets. When the Creator created us, He gave us the kind of creation that He beheld first within His own self. That the wand that He probably swirled and we were created, He handed the wands to us as well. He is not so selfish to just keep the wand to his own self, because He is never running out of magic wands.
Yeah.
He's going to create them. He has that kind of a power. But He made sure that He gave each creation that He created.
Yeah, I think if you find yourself impeded, like you're trying to go for something and it's just not working, and you just think, okay, maybe this is not my destiny. It could be two things. Maybe you yourself waved the wand at some time, denying this for yourself for a real reason. Maybe you're blessed and you knew that this time would come, and you knew that you should not have a Lamborghini. That if you go down that path, that is not good for you. So you withheld that for yourself, right? Or the other thing is, maybe at some point you consented to some sort of evil, right? And that evil is blocking you. Either way, the scriptures say that God is a possessor of our souls. Okay. Specifically, people, this whole idea of Satan, really, a lot of it comes from Abrahamic religions, right? As though he sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah.
But what it also says in the same Bible is that Jehovah is the repurchaser of souls. So it is showing that there would need to be a reason to repurchase. and that would happen. So that happens just by giving yourself back and accepting truth, right? Showing that you can actually handle truth. Showing that you love the truth. I think right now we're getting in a world where people can have whatever they want. They can build whatever they want. The people who have so much success in this might not be the people who were so blessed.
Okay.
Who said, maybe the blessed people said, no, we will withhold this.
Wow.
Right? We're getting into a kind of world where we can just think something and it will appear. Right? We're going into the cyborg metaverse. Right? Maybe that's not really true free will. Maybe true free will is exemplified in the Khalsa, that the highest manifestation of man, of mind, is a Shaheed Singh, right? The ultimate exerciser of free will, that even death does not stop that will. So I think if we look in kind of a limited sense and we look at this world and we want to figure out, well, how do we master it? How do we be so successful? How do we show that it didn't hurt us? Well, then that's what we're getting into, like you're saying, ego, right? Because which guru, which holy person ever did that? Which one ever mastered existence and the country and everybody else? That's not what it's about.
Can Khalsa be soft?
Khalsa is soft.
But do you think that many of the Khalsa people are probably they're shying away from revealing their soft sides to the world or to their own selves to begin with? The world comes much later, but are they ready to accept that there is a soft side to every human being, and we have to embrace that as well? And we do not really have to hide behind the shields of strength and power and aggression and rage, so to say, no matter what the reasoning could be.
Yeah. Like I said, Khalsa is soft. The element that we're closest to is water.
Yeah.
Right? And spiritual water, healing water, is tonified with metal. Right? So that's why Sarablo Kira Shaman, like the Sarablo tonifies our water. That's why we wear it. And so we're supposed to act as water does. And water is the most powerful thing. Water can be extremely powerful. So soft doesn't mean powerless. I'm sure you already know that. But as far as what other people posture as, I cannot speak to. What I know is that the Turks that Guru Gobind Singh Ji is referring to and that Bhagat Namdev was referring to before that is not necessarily a race of people, a skin color, a religion. It is more of an energy that dominates. They want to dominate. They want to adulterate. They want to change things. They want to invert it for their own power. So if our battle is against the Turks, why wouldn't we expect that there would be Turks amongst us? Right? It's not going to take like way more centuries for them to figure that out.
Yeah.
That was happening while Guruji was here. So the way around it, sovereignty is soft. Sovereignty is gentle. The way to understand all sovereign beings and all the gurus, all 10 of the gurus, is through Satguru, the number 7, Guru Harirai.
Hmm.
Guru Harirai is the 7th Guru for a reason.
Oh.
And that Sat, that truth, is showing the real face of Guruji, the real face of God, the real face of the sovereign. And Guru Harirai is gentle. Guru Harirai created and initiated a system that would eclipse sovereignty through being gentle. So even those people who are posturing to be Khalsa, God will take care of that in a very gentle and amazing way. We don't have to waste too much time thinking about it, right? What they're doing is not going to affect the true Khalsa. The true Khalsa doesn't need to inhabit those gurdwaras in which they stay. The true Khalsa doesn't need to have the langar in which they make, or the prasad, or you don't need to give them money, right? Siki is possible at any time, anywhere. And so just by being a true Sikh, that will eclipse all the man-made powers, all the powers of the Turks will be eclipsed just by walking through that. And it's a very, I guess you could say, metaphysical concept, right? Just by speaking your truth, living your truth, these things mean so much more than, that's why they have to talk so loud. That's why they have to do so many things, is they want to convince you that what they're doing means anything. It will
reflect.
It is not even seen in heaven. They're not getting any notice at all, because to reach to that place, you have to release so much identity. So if you're not the same person after stripping off everything when you get to heaven, then you're not actually Khalsa. You have to have no identity of your own other than that you're a servant. You have to have no will of your own other than you're willing to die for the truth, to die for your purpose. And so people that live like that are not a nuisance to anyone, but they will remind people.
Yeah. When you were speaking of martial arts that you always wanted, this was one of the reasons that you were drawn to Sikhi, because of the martial arts. What is that beautification of energy that you feel when you practice it? What transforms or what flows through you inside of your body when you're in there doing it?
Wow.
What is the experience that you feel from within?
So to me, martial arts, kinesiology, and truth are all related. And in Punjabi, that's so much simpler. They're all vidya, right? And both things are studied in an akhada, right? So the alignment of our body, the strength, the balance of strength, all these things have to do with a relationship with truth. The more aligned you are, the more strong you are. The more truthful you are, the more strong you are. Then when you know how to use that truth, you know how to better exercise your alignment. That is martial arts. Is you're aligned, you have a posture, and then you know the best way to proceed to defend yourself or to prevent something bad from happening. That's wisdom, right? What will make you the winner is compassion. What will make you the winner is that you completely love the person that you're up against. And that's where Siki comes from, is when you see that your enemy is not your enemy, right? They are under the delusion of a false sovereignty, and that false sovereignty is at war with true sovereignty.
Wow. Thank you for saying this.
And so all you have to do is just see where they're at, and you do what you do without tarnishing yourself. And the rest, Guruji will win. Right? Because it's not a battle of who was right. It's a battle of truth to see what is the truthful situation. So do we have any reason to believe that all these moments in time will just be lost? That they will not be able to be recalled or remembered? So any moment in which we stick by truth, we stand by truth, is very important. It will definitely have some effect.
In our conversation so far, you expressed one of your desires where you said that you want Punjab to be organic.
Yes.
How do you think of doing that? And where this thought came from?
Well, I was an organic farmer in California,
Okay.
right? And then I was in the food industry for a while. I did a little bit of restaurant, but then I did a supplement company. I consulted other people starting some companies. And I got those products on shelves. So I got very into the food industry and talking with big and small farmers. Here in Punjab, we have an amazing situation that we have such a concentration of small farmers. Organic farming is best done with small farmers, right? If we're talking about just natural organic farming without robots and without buildings, right? So that's one reason, but also it's a way of connecting and coming closer to the truth without putting so much attention on religion. Because I can talk all the time about true religion, but it doesn't mean other people will understand what I mean, right? Even me saying religion or God is just going to trigger some people, and they're going to automatically assume they know what I'm talking about. And there's no way to rectify that. There just isn't. I can drop those words, use another word, then someone else won't like that I'm not using those words. Okay? But the way to bring us all to truth is really understanding where we come from and what we need to live. So, is there any real religion if someone doesn't respect and honor their parents? Right? They came from their parents. If they can't respect and honor their parents, what business do they have calling on some other name? And so the same way, if we can't respect and honor the earth that gives us the food, if we can't figure out how not to poison ourselves with the food that nourishes us, then we have no business talking about religion. All these people talking about religion, fighting over religion, have no business doing that. Because this is the first thing. And this is the thing that will unify the people of Punjab instead of separating them. Because having organic food is not a small thing. We have to help each other to grow it. Then we have to help each other to eat it. Once you grow all that food, you don't want it to go to waste. And you're picking it ripe. You're not able to spray all the preservatives on it. So it automatically brings community together.
And eventually rise it up.
Yes, yeah. And that also helps people see how much land do we really need. Because excess is evil. Excess is the root of evil. So some people don't have enough. Some people have too much. Right? We should only have the amount of land
as much as we need it,
that we can care for it. Right? If we don't have the people to care for it, if we don't have the family or the community to care for it, then it should go to someone else. if we have to go to these other lengths and bring in these migrant workers, but then be upset when they decide to stay and have a family, it just is not going to work.
Also, the kind of learnings that we learn when we are in tune with nature, they are unbeatable and unmatchable. I mean, there's no other substitute to it, because you would see that the first learning that you would learn is that whatever you're sowing is eventually something that you're going to ripe. So when you feel it so closely, you would want to bring that change into your own self as well. You would want to probably, this is one example, along with much more that you will learn by being in the laps of nature, and except and apart from the fact that you're going to come together as a community, work together with love, eat with love, retail and sell with love. It's just going to be an environment which is nothing but full of love.
Yeah.
So,
it helps us to become in union with the Guru. Like I said, in my belief, is Guru Harirai is the compass and the square to understand Guruji, Satguru in general. And so Guru Harirai would have definitely approved of organic farming. And here's the thing that I've discovered, is when we really try to become aligned with Guruji, and I've been focusing, because typically the things that I do, my interest is mostly towards Guru Harirai. So I had someone come and stay with me, another Singh from UK. And we talked about all these things. We talked about organic farming. We ate organic. We did the yoga that I teach with the ropes. We did the meditations. We did all these things, right? Now he's having the same experience that I have, where he feels led, guided by Guru Harirai. And he's back in the UK, and he's just feeling led, guided. Everything is perfect timing. Everything is Chardi Kala. He has no fear. That's what I really want. That's what I want, is for people to become in union with the Guruji. And I've met other people who I say, wow, he's in union with Guru Angad Dev. Oh, he's in union with Guru Amar Das, right? That's the beauty of Siki, is as we become a Gursikh, Gurmukh, that headship, they become our head. We give our head to them.
Yeah. And I believe whichever Guru you feel the closest to is not you, it's the God, the Guru's own appearance. It's that particular Guru's choice to show up to you.
Yes.
It's not something that you decide, or it's got nothing to do with you. Many people would say that I relate, or I feel that I would say that Guru Nanak Ji chose me. I feel very much in tune with him, and I love him so much. I cannot press enough on the fact when I say it that I don't know what it is, neither do I want to know what it is. I don't want to put any label on it. As long as it's beautiful, and as long as we both are enjoying it, I am happy.
Yeah.
So I feel that Guru Nanak Ji chose me, and every now and then he very beautifully and very meticulously and very gracefully shows up on my door whenever I need him, without even having asked for him.
Yeah.
He just shows up, and I feel.
And even if we're not aware, the Guruji could still be there.
Yeah.
And one day we remember and realize that they've always been there.
Yeah. Well, it was one lovely conversation, and I thank you so much for your time. I hope it reaches out to the masses and to everybody, because till now I've only done podcasts in Punjabi. My only main motive to do it in English was to help understand the masses about the importance and the, the nature of Sikhi. So thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sat Shri Akal.
Sat Shri Akal.